Another panel elaborated on the future of transport sector, where industry leaders and eminent speakers delved into its impact on fuel economy, durability and environment.
Let me start with Mr. Gandhi and also Mr. Srinivas can add to that. As a representative of the automotive industry body, how do you see the roadmap of the auto fuel vision that we saw the glimpse of 2025 in realistic terms, and its implication in terms of reducing vehicular emission? Your expert view.
As per the auto fuel policy, the BS5 emission norms are supposed to come from 2020 for new models and 2021 for existing models, and BS6 from 2024. But taking the pressure which is coming up on the auto industry because of the deteriorating air quality, particularly with a lot of attention being given to Delhi and a lot of items coming in the news item of the deteriorating air quality. We as an auto industry had discussed it with the policymakers, and in the last meeting which was taken by the policymakers, it was agreed that if we could prepone by 1 year, that is 2019, and BS6 by 2023. But however, this will depend upon the availability of 10 ppm sulfur BS5 fuel by 2019, at least by 2018, if not there, but 2019 definitely. But there is no clarity from the oil industry as of now whether they would be in a position to supply the 10 ppm sulfur fuel by 2019. Currently they are looking at it from 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Maybe just to add, I mean, when we go through the policy, there is talk about retrofitment of the existing, what do we do with existing vehicle park, and the government talking about the cess to bring some kind of parity of fuel price. Where do you see, I mean, there seems to be quite a bit of confusion there.
See, these are 2017, definitely the BS4 throughout India, only one norm will be there. And 2019 and 23, BS5, BS6 will come. Individual vehicle will be production will be tremendously, it will be reduced. So the retrofitment, all other, once the fuel and other is available and those vehicles are capable, it should be electronic if you want to put a DPF, or in a modern if you want to put a this thing, it should be electronic engines. Most probably the existing model, those may not be electronic.
The next question is to Mr. Petkar. In terms of the comparison between US and India, like 80-85% of trucks are large trucks in the US, and here less than 5 trucks. And also reducing the total cost of ownership seems to be the prime driver. On the other hand, we have hardware changes coming up as a result of various legislation and then improving technology, fuel economy, etc. Where do you see the balance actually? How the end user going to be impacted?
The innovation is going to be quite key, and what works in the other market may not work here. And we therefore are looking forward to creating something which is unique. And as a combination of a technology and the other opportunities which are there in terms of thanks to electronics, that we can do the duty cycle mapping. We can actually tailor make the engine calibration map suitable for the different terrains, different applications. So that is something which we will have to explore it more.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Panda. Your perspective, where do you think, in terms of what value can partnership and co-engineering provide in terms of pushing the boundaries in hardware changes?
If you look at Japan, if you look at Europe, if you look at US, the co-engineering is not just between OEM and a technology supplier. When the regulations are being formulated, there's a lot of discussion between the regulation makers and the OEMs and the technology suppliers. Together they try to push the boundary. So that's the kind of intense discussion which is required even in India. The policymakers, the academia who will do this kind of modeling, the regulatory agencies like ARA, again they have very good modeling capabilities. So together, if you sit down and make a long-term roadmap, I think it's going to be very, very interesting and challenging for all of us.
Thanks, Mr. Panda. What do you think is the role of lubricant in terms of innovation that we talk about? Sometimes lubricant is being seen as a low involvement product, as sometimes as an afterthought. So where do you think this fits into the overall scheme of things in terms of reducing emission or helping contribute to reducing emission?
Okay.
basically, we'll need to optimize everything, whether it's in the drivetrain or in the vehicle or in the controls. We need to get better at everything. Lubricants isn't the complete answer to everything, but it is a contributor to many things. And as I said, the need for collaboration for that with OEMs and with end users will drive innovation both in lubricants itself and in the components that it deals with. And we've already seen examples of that. So it's not the sole source of innovation, but like many other parts, this mosaic of opportunity, lubricants will play a part in that.
Thanks, Mr. Campbell. Felix, where do you think, what role technical services has actually on the ground to reducing total cost of ownership?
Okay, so I think it's much more than just looking at oil condition monitoring. And how can we take a best practice that we've seen in another industry and transfer that into a totally different sector? And often that is not necessarily there in-house with the maintenance teams may not have that vision. And so bringing that technology and that breadth of vision in terms of the sector experience is one area that the technical service, if it's delivered correctly, can really pay some significant advantages.
Thanks, Felix. With that, can we have some questions? I'm sure some of you have some questions to ask the panel.
The question is to Mr. Gandhi. Do we see any regulation coming up in terms of how we are going to monitor the underpowered vehicle on our roads and how we can upgrade them to more powerful vehicles so that the TCO can be reduced to the owner?
Well, I think basically you are saying underpowered, but what I hear from the policymakers, they are saying that our vehicles are going at very high speed, and therefore they already have a regulation in India that we would have to put speed limiting devices on most of the vehicles, particularly the interstate vehicles. And now they are even talking about why don't we have speed limiting devices on all passenger cars, even private passenger cars. So I don't think so that our vehicles are really underpowered. They are basically meant for the Indian conditions. Yes, when you overload them or when you are loading them beyond their designed capacity, well, definitely that's why you see them chugging around the road. But it's not because that they are underpowered.
My question is specific to the DPF application, which is coming in another 5 years for the diesel engines. So are you working or you have any solutions specific tailor-made for India?
We, working with our OEM partners, we do tailor solutions for the India market, yes, and we have a number of technologies that are exclusively marketed here through our partners. But we don't do that independently. We don't say, here is a solution for the India market, please buy it. We do that in partnership with companies like yourself. We do that as part of a technical commercial collaboration. So we do, and we're very happy to do so if it makes sense for all parties.
One study says that if we use 5% of biofuel like ethanol and all in our fuel, our efficiency increases by 10%. I just wanted to know, if it is true, how much your fuel is compatible with biofuel, or which type of biofuel is compatible with your type of fuel?
The fossil fuel you are importing and ethanol, if you can produce locally in India using say non-food grade biomass and use it for fuel, will certainly add to the energy security. So that way the move is good, but then we have to balance of what is the fuel consumption versus the benefit of energy security, which is more important for the country. Based on that, the policymakers have to think 50 years ahead and then decide what is the right way to go.
I would like to thank all the guests on the panel for a very interactive session. Thanks audience also for asking questions.
Thank you.
This has been a really engaging and interesting session. I think we discussed a whole lot of stuff, starting from how innovation can play a big role, how going local and tailor-making product solutions would be the right choices to make. We looked at how we can optimize total cost of ownership and all the challenges that it faces. Thank you very much for your attention. I think we are coming to the end of our program, and before we close, may I request my colleague Mr. Vineet Thakkar to come and propose a vote of thanks.
Thanks to all of you. I think we at Shell had a fantastic day. Very, very engaging sessions. I hope you all enjoyed the sessions as much as we did. We at Shell are very passionate about technology, and one of the ways we like to work on some of the toughest challenges and trends ahead is work closely in collaboration with the partners. So these are the industries, industry bodies, OEMs, academic institutes. Bring all of them together in a platform like a global lecture series, get into an engaging discussion, understand the needs so that we can go back and innovate and come out with solutions which you see a value in the field. When we finally apply those innovations into solutions in the field, our customers see a value in that. Thanks to the organizers. Thank you.